Okay, part two with the leader. And, okay, what's the date today? Okay, sorry, October 2010. Okay, the election was done a week and a half ago.
September 27th, yeah,
okay.
so it's 2 weeks.
Now, okay, let's get a prediction here. Now, David Elwood.
Yeah.
Of course, I would love to see a guy like you around in the circle of David Elwood, because you would, you're not a liberal, you're not a, you speak your mind, and you're polite at it, you're very smart. Oh, by the way, Steve Murphy, you didn't have an interview with him?
I did have an interview with
yeah, but you didn't have it after?
No, they didn't let me in the debate.
No, but I mean, David Elwood should be surrounded by people like you.
Well, David Elwood has to be very, very careful now about who he does surround himself with. He wants to really put thoughtful advisors and people that will tell them what they genuinely believe, and give them really, really good counsel. And you have to think about your decisions down the road. What's the impact of this? How are we going to implement it? Why are we doing it? And is it a really compelling decision to go in that direction? Politicians have this overwhelming desire to change everything.
Yep.
One of the first things we studied when I was studying business, my professor would say, the first alternative you must examine is the do-nothing alternative. In other words, don't change for the sake of change without understanding why that change has to take place. And then when you know that the status quo isn't good enough, then you have to know where you want to go. So for him, he really has to make sure he has top advisors. Frank McKenna, me excluded, did have good advisors and wise ones. So I think...
yeah, he even read my letters to the editor. He even told me that one.
He listened to a lot of wise people. And I think that served him well.
Yeah.
And Frank backed down on things.
Oh, yes.
You know, he didn't just plow through on certain things. There were times when he backed down, and there was times when he plowed ahead. And you know, I'm thinking of Aldea and Fern Landry, and he had a solid cabinet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, you know, different other people that he surrounded himself with was very...
Now, Bernard Lord was surrounded by jerks. Like, he had the Tim Porter, he had the Etienne Allard, he had another few names that I don't even know. You couldn't have access to the Premier. It was almost impossible. Frank McKenna, you could have access to him. Bernard Lord, you couldn't.
Yeah.
And I hope David Elwood is surrounded by people with good attitude, good open public, good public relations skills.
Yeah, and he's got to not be afraid to lead. That's the other thing, is not to be afraid to lead. I sense that was the problem with Bernie Lord. He was a little bit afraid, so he went into a cocoon and he didn't know how to come out of it.
Yeah.
And that's why he became shut off from the world. In a way, Sean Graham tried the opposite, but that was equally disastrous. In fact, more disastrous. He's you know, got one term, and that was it. So, to me, politics is an art form. It's understanding the issues that you're facing, and not only being able to bring in the changes, but to sell those changes, to make them understandable. And yes, and when you have to make, when people become angry or upset, you have to still plow through it if you believe strongly that you're going in the right direction.
Will you accept a position as the new CEO of NB Liquor?
Geez, I haven't been offered that one. That would be a sweet one, I have to admit.
I'm laughing here.
I'd be in the stock room all the time. I'd be doing a stock check.
What do you think David Elwood should do with that appointment or that position or whatever you want to call it?
Again, there are so many chirping birds there that want their turn at the worm, you know, and there would be a great chance to show that he's going in a different direction, but I don't think he will.
No?
No, it would be a smart move to turn that over to well-deserved, well-earned jobs I mean, because really, like take for example Dana Clendenning. I know Dana. He's a great guy.
Oh,
He's a good guy, good man. But he was no more worth $150,000. I mean, like that was just what did he know about the liquor business? You know, besides probably having a martini once in a while. It was just a pure political payoff.
Yeah, it was.
And that incenses people.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't really bring anything to the table. The table came to him.
Yeah.
And it was just like another notch in the belt. You know, and as I said, it's nothing against Dana. I mean, if somebody came along and offered me a sweetheart job like that, I'd have a hard time saying no to it. But it's not him who accepted it. It's the people who are offering them. See, these politicians are supposed to be our defenders. But instead, they get in there, and it's like on day one, it's like they're clamoring over each other to get to the trough.
Yeah.
And if the leader approves of it, then it's the way of life.
Listen, one final point.
Yeah.
Prediction here. I think it'll be good politics. McKenna won.
Yeah.
58
to nothing.
Yeah. McKenna won because of Hatfield, not because of Frank McKenna. We know that for a fact. And then the second time he ran, that's where the core party was born.
Yeah.
So the Elwood is almost the same position, that he's going to piss off some people. There's no question about it. He's not a saint. So then the Green Party, the NDP, can make stride. Wouldn't this be a good time, which it won't cost 1 cent to the taxpayers, to come out with electoral reform?
Look, if David Alward came out with electoral reform, he would... I've never seen the appetite in New Brunswick for it so high.
Yeah.
One of the things that I keep getting over and over again from people in New Brunswick saying, it was wonderful to have the Green Party in there because you were talking about issues that weren't typically jobs, healthcare, and unemployment over and over and over again, and spun in many different ways. And that's what the minority parties, the smaller parties, bring to the table. They bring a whole brand new spectrum of issues.
Exactly.
And when people hear about them, they're saying, you know, you're right. People don't hear about clear cutting. People don't hear about the loss of the natural habitat in our forestry. And maybe not everybody's overly concerned with it, but everybody's somewhat concerned with it. And those points of view have to get to the table, and right now they're only represented by industry.
And the review has been done by Bernard Lord and Brett Taylor. It's done, so it won't cost. It
doesn't cost 5 cents. Just implement the recommendations. It's the same as putting the tolls on the highway. Don't have to do a study about where to put the toll booths. Just put them where they were supposed to be in the first place, and start collecting money. Those are some really easy, tough decisions.
But he would go down in history, like a Richard Hatfield, or like Changes.
He needs to find, exactly. He could be the man, or the premier, or the leader that brought electoral reform to New Brunswick.
God, I feel like singing "Oh Canada." It's so good.
Exactly. And I mean, really, it would be groundbreaking.
Yes.
I mean, think about Louis Robichaud bringing equal opportunity to New Brunswick. What a battle that was.
Yes, it was.
And Alward has to pick 2 or 3 things and decide that those are the things I want to bring to the table, beyond the paying the bills and, you know, collecting the taxes and delivering the services. He wants probably 2 or 3 items that at the end of the day say, that's my stamp, because of me. That, like Frank McKenna can say the 4-lane highways are because of me.
Exactly.
Right?
Final thought, that's good, that's very good. You know, we only got 10 seconds here. I say he's going to be one hell of a good premier. That's on record.
Okay, and on the record, I'm going to tell you this. He's one hell of a good man.
He is.
Yeah, and that is going to make him a good premier.
He won't be.
He just has to stay true to his values.
Yeah.
I wrote him a note along that line. Think long term and stay true to your values, and you'll be fine.
Good final word. Hey, Jack, always a pleasure.
Thanks, Charles.
And you got my vote, by the way.
Yeah, of course you wouldn't mention it, but proportional representation would be a fantastic.
That's what we're talking. That's what we're talking about.
Setting proposition.
That's what we're talking about.
To make, and that would make his contribution to New Brunswick now
big
and
time,
forever.
Good.
Yeah, they'd be saying Alward brought.
We're gonna try. We're gonna try.
We would love him for it.
There we go.
Wonderful.
Nice to meet you.